Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit BBQ. On today's video, I'm going to direct cook some beef back ribs on my Chud box. Stay tuned. All right, let's get started on this cook. I'm starting with a rack of beef back ribs from 1855. If you guys have not tried the 1855 meat, I highly recommend it. Now at 1855, they only use the upper 2/3 choice or greater. So if you see the 1855 badge on it, that means you're getting upper 2/3 choice or prime. So as you can see, there's some really nice marbling right here on this meat. So let's take it out of the package here. So at my food truck, I'm serving the 1855 beef short ribs, and they are fantastic. Really nice marbling as well. Really happy with them. So as far as the membrane, I'm going to leave the membrane on, but I do like to score them. Just make some cross hatches, if you will. Just like that. All right, that looks good right there. We should not have to trim anything off of these beef back ribs. They are looking really nice. There's quite a bit of meat right in between the bones, but not a lot of meat on the top. Now, on top of these ribs right here, normally you'll find the prime rib or the rib roast that sits right on top of these bones. But what the butchers do is they'll come in here and shave the meat off really close to the bone, which gives you these bones right here. They call them shiners. And that's okay on beef back ribs, but on beef short ribs, you want a really nice meaty top on top of the rib bones. So one thing I've learned throughout the years when cooking beef back ribs is that it's really easy to over season them and they come out really salty. So be careful with how much seasoning you put on there. Remember, there's not a whole lot of meat on the top. The meat is right here, right in the middle, right in between the bones. And this is where you want to season, but not too heavy. So I'm going to be using a binder on this rack of ribs, some Worcestershire sauce, or wash your sister sauce, or what's this here sauce, whatever you want to call it. Now it's up to you if you want to use a binder. You don't have to use a binder. You can just use water if you'd like, but I like using the W sauce on beef ribs. All right, the first seasoning I'm gonna add is just some 16 mesh black pepper. Just add a nice layer of black pepper. The next rub that I'm gonna be using is from Pia Seasoning. This is their Butcher's Blend Primetime Seasoning. It's fantastic, it's got a really good buttery flavor and a good beefy flavor as well. So remember to add just a little bit. That looks good right there. I am not going to overdo it. Flip these babies over. Add some W sauce on the top, followed by some black pepper. I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper on the top, because I like a good peppery beef back rib. So what do you guys like better, the beef back ribs or the beef short ribs? Let me know in the comments section. To be honest with you, I am not a fan of the beef short ribs. I don't know why. I'd rather have brisket. But there's a lot of people that love their beef ribs. All right. Pat that pepper in. Followed by the primetime seasoning. And again, do not overdo it on your seasoning. Just a light layer. I've actually used this primetime seasoning on some prime rib, and it is fantastic. All right, just like that. I'm gonna let this rest for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna go fire up the Chud box. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm outside of my Chud box. I've got a full chimney of Jealous Devil charcoal. If you guys have not used Jealous Devil before, I highly recommend it. As you can see, no sparks, just clean burning fuel, and this stuff burns really hot. So I'm just gonna grab this, slide my grate over, dump our charcoal in there. All right, so I got a ball of aluminum foil. That's what I like to use to clean these grates. Really simple process. Just like that, those grates look brand new. I gotta tell you, if you guys aren't using foil to clean your grates, you've gotta give it a shot. So I did scoot our charcoal towards the back of the cooker. That's exactly where I'm gonna place our beef back ribs. Bone side down first. So I'm going to run the Chud box at 275 degrees. We'll check back in about 45 minutes. Stay tuned. All right, so it's been 45 minutes. Let's take a look at our ribs. All right, so check that out. The meat is actually lifting up from the bones, which is nice. I'm glad I left that membrane on so they don't fall apart. So let's go ahead and flip these over. Oh, beautiful. So check that out. The cross hatches I made with the knife is really allowing that fat to render through the bone. That's looking, no. All right, so I'm gonna let the ribs cook with the meat side down for 45 minutes, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so another 45 minutes has passed. Let's take a look at our ribs. Ooh, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip them again. Oh man, they are feeling really tender. Oh yes, look at that. So you should expect for these ribs to cook faster than inside an offset smoker because again, we are cooking directly over the coals. So let's get an internal temperature of that meat. I want about 200 degrees when these are ready, and they are sitting at about 180. Still don't feel really tender. So we are almost there at 200 degrees. I'm gonna let this get to about 195 degrees. Then we'll come outside and sauce them. Stay tuned. All right, so another 30 minutes has passed. Total cook time is just over 2 hours. Let's go ahead and sauce these beef back ribs. Look at that. Use your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm using this Cosmos Q OPX1, which is delicious. Brush that sauce on there. Oh yeah. Let the sauce sit here for about 15-20 minutes. Let it get nice and sticky. Oh man. That sauce hitting those hot coals on the bottom smells absolutely delicious. All right, I got the ribs all sauced up. I'm gonna let that sauce set for about 20 minutes. Then we'll see you guys inside. Stay tuned. All right, so the ribs are ready and the total cook time was right at 3 hours. And they have been resting for about 15 minutes. The final internal temperature was right at 200 degrees. Look at that. Nice and shiny with that barbecue sauce. They're still really hot. All right, let's take a look at the back side of the rib here. Look at that, absolutely perfect. All right, let's take a couple of bones off this rack. And it does get tricky right here. Sometimes you do run into a bone, so just be mindful of that. All right, there we go. Look at that. That looks absolutely amazing. We even have a nice little smoke ring on this. Wasn't expecting that. Got enough meat on this bone right here. Oh yeah, let's give it a taste. All right, let's give these direct heat beef back ribs a try and see how we did. Look at that color. Oh yeah. Here we go. Man, this rib is so good. It really is hard to beat that direct heat flavor. You know, there's not a ton of meat on these beef back ribs, but I gotta tell you, the meat that is there is absolutely delicious. Man, this primetime seasoning from PS Seasoning is so darn good, and it pairs extremely well with that Cosmos Q OPX1 sauce. I hope you guys enjoyed this beef rib video. If this is your first time to my channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya. I gotta get me another bite.